Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our Sunday night stream. Sunday night for me, Sunday afternoon for most of you, Sunday morning for some of you. I'm here with Soldat. Just give me give me a little hi in the chat if you can hear me. And also, as usual, just let us know how the sound is. We're just gonna start this stream off by telling you the stream is sponsored in partnership with Bullet Dex. You've heard us talk about this a lot. Bullet Dex is a Dex on Solana that focuses on high speed execution. You can find the link to the whitelist in my bio or in Soldat's bio, where you can sign up for their mainnet launch if you want to get early access for potential farming and whatnot. Still did not get any hi in the chat, so no idea if we are live.
No, we are. I heard you.
You heard me? Okay. Well, thanks, chat. You are amazing. Gonna start off with some BTC here. I didn't trade much over the last week or so because I spent some time in Belgium with my friends. I'm back in Thailand now, and well, not much has happened, to be honest. Okay, we're starting off with some. I was just looking at the TPO here. We had a very flat top, yeah, like until 10 minutes ago or something. We just took those highs out. It was like this four TPO high, so it was like a really bad high. We just corrected that into this wick here, which is a good high. Um, Also, this high is good, but even though like it depends a little bit how we develop here. I would like to see like a little bit more of a push. Maybe take this one out. If we start grinding higher here, I think like the combination of these highs, even though each individual high is technically like a decent high, like you get a push into supply, fast sell off. So there's a clear sign on each individual high here that sellers are very much in control. But if buyers keep buying price into these highs, there's a lot of stops resting here. So in that case, I would expect to just like these to all get cleaned up a little bit. Then you have the next supply block is sitting right here. Maybe this cluster right here that would be my next area of resistance. So it depends a little bit how we develop here. We've also seen in actual downtrends that bulls are often not able to take these. Like we had that in the what was it, like the 50K 74K range, and all the other ranges we developed. Like when we are gearing up for a leg lower, is usually like these kind of things just get left behind. The reason for that is that they're supply zones for a reason. So bulls or buyers just push price back into this, and people that were selling that are causing this downtrend are really happy to sell into these highs again and take all the liquidity from the buyers before buyers exhaust and price just rolls over again. So that is just something to keep in mind. If we actually fail to take these, I wouldn't rule out at least cleaning up these lows here, or maybe into the imbalance here. So that's something I was looking at. See, on the other hand, I was noticing for like most of the day that spot buyers were actually in control here. You see, this is Sunday. It's around Sunday open for me. I'm a little bit uh, earlier in time zone, but you see like clear move coming from spot buying. Um, I checked a little bit in the heat map. It wasn't necessarily that sellers were chasing because if limit sellers are just absorbing everything, you get a upward trending CVD that is actually bearish because like everyone is just selling here, and the arbitrage just makes it that spot just keeps on buying here into those cells, but it's not really the case. So yeah, I was expecting just these highs to get taken out, and they're now taken out. So I have no idea. We have to let price develop a little bit. Sorry, I meant to take this one. You also see like in this very last push up that we have like open interest. pushing up, not by really huge amount, but it's like 1,000 BTC almost, like on price moving up like $200. It's usually not very bullish. So there's like a contradiction of things that are happening. There has been on Bybit for most of the weekend, and I looked a little bit back. Like they have been doing like some weird stuff. Like, it's usually not very significant exchange, but like the moves were like bigger than usual in open interest and in CVD as well. So it's like a lot of positioning and repositioning happening all the time. Um, if I go to my trading view for like a cleaner, let me try to find it. Um, so these are just weekend trades that ended up being paper trades. I was thinking that we would take the highs first, then the lows. I didn't have limits in here, and like I just woke up from a nap or something, and just like felt exactly. The reason for this was just the imbalance right here. Can do it like this a little bit, and just like I usually target like the midpoint of the very obvious imbalance. Sometimes you miss some, sometimes you get filled decently, and in that case you can like you can tighten your risk reward a little bit. I think it was supposed to be like this low here, protected. So that went really well. Then the short I got filled, and then TP'd a little bit here, and of course like stopped at entry here. But there's just like very obvious weekend trades. Like you see the liquidity building up on both sides. So not really anything for a bigger move. Yeah, I think just like I said earlier in the TPO, um, think these highs are kind of crucial. We are, if you zoom out on higher time frame, um, this is starting to become like a range for me. Oh, maybe like a downward trending range. You could say like, okay, actually, like the initial impulse up here. I think there was like quite significant volume, yeah, in this part right here. And if you pull it through, I think that stays like quite significant area of volume right here. So what that means is that everything that happened after was not really able to shift the POC. Like you can see barely or almost here. We're building like another high volume node here as well. So these are levels that you maybe want to watch. Um, but in my opinion, this is becoming like a very big range, and so we should just treat it as um, volume that came in like after this. I have to adjust this value area a little bit. So let's say this is like where we are building value. The expectation, I guess, is if we manage to hold the lows here on very high time frame, I would expect like at least until like midpoint. That would be like a good move to start like maybe looking how we react on low time frames in this little cluster right here. Um, I'm not really sure if we're gonna get it. Like I said, it's for me it's very mixed signals here, and the fact that this is like constantly grinding down in value is not something you really want to see. Like um, in my opinion, you really want to get like a decent reaction here. Maybe ideally like something like this for bulls to finally fill. Escape. Finally fill like this imbalance here. I think that would be something to watch for. Then if you see some clear rejection here, like we'll try to get in a short, and eventually like this area here is where I'd look for bigger shorts. Even though you can say like, okay, we reclaimed, but it's just like every single time that we pushed up into one of these, uh, either like push up into or sweep, there have been very good shorts. So um, the objective here is to not watch your Twitter account too much. Don't watch the feed and just stay objective to what is happening. Like because once price is trading into like 120, 122, you will see like the 150k, 200k posts again. while recent price action has shown us that like it is much more, even if we grind higher, it is much more likely that we will do something like this, just continuous grind up instead of those actual 10, 20, 30K daily moves that have been predicted for a while now. Yeah, that's mostly it for me. I will let Solda take it over. He probably has some more low time frame ideas. Isn't that right?
Sure. Is my screen up?
Yeah.
All right. So, as I discussed last week, I drew this thing last week, and look what happened, right? Pretty good, pretty good. Come on, come on, come on. I'll take credit for that. So I'm in this short right now, uh, targeting around here uh, for lower time frame stuff. So it is a Sunday. We get a very typical Sunday grind up action. Uh, Pretty much, I think I don't remember last time we had a Sunday without it. So this is a Sunday, if I remember correctly. This is a Sunday pump here, and then now we're doing the same exact thing. We had the structure forming here. We kind of tried to break it on Friday, couldn't, dumped back down and continued sort of sleepwalking, broke this, and then it gave a bit of push. So if we take previous Sundays as examples, we should see, maybe further grind up. I'm not sure if we sweep this high at about 112 flat, or we just front run it barely. I would feel more comfortable taking a long like this if we just front run it and leave it untouched, and then we can sweep it after CME open. So I think continued sort of grind up into CME open. Once CME opens, I think it would make sense to take out some lows. Uh, I'm not sure if you would count it as forced selling or not, or closing hedges or stuff like that, but that's usually what we see on Sundays at CME Open. If I remember correctly, this was a CME Open, so we ground up on Sunday and then CME Open dump. So I'm kind of looking for something very similar happening here. As for what happened last week, you can see we're making consecutive lows, but we're kind of starting to bull div here, so it made sense for this to be sort of an interim bottom. I expected the bottom a couple of K lower, didn't quite happen. MicroStrategy earnings came out, so I'm guessing some de-risking into that, and then hedges coming off. You can kind of see the same thing with open interest. You have a lot of shorting going down into there, and then this is probably, a mixture, but primarily shorts closing in this little range as we come up on Friday. So uh, in some ways bullish because shorts came off, but in other ways it's potential shorts that can open up again once we get into sort of this range. I would say between like 125 and 135 ish. This is where I think trouble will start. I'm not sure if we take these highs or not. So if I was trading lower time frames, I would kind of start to look for shorts here as well. A sweep like we did here, and then a dump would be, I think, a decent short into maybe higher time frame shorts because yeah, current price action is kind of weak. Definitely, I think if we check Coinbase Premium, yeah, we're in a very high, like reasonable discount regime right now from what we've seen on Coinbase earnings, from what we've seen from other sort of these price insensitive buyers, TCOs and such. They seem to be in trouble with their what is it called, the MNAV ratio, right? So once it falls below 1, it makes sense for them to buy back their shares to push that ratio up. And we saw a couple that sold Bitcoin to do that. So it has the potential to do the inverse of how we got up here on higher time frames, right? Uh, Oh, also didn't mention, just for the sake. The reason I picked these levels here is because on the heat map we can see supply chasing down. So uh, in this regime, we saw supply actually retreating, and now it's chasing back down. And now all of this is the new supply that needs to get taken out for higher prices. And I don't think there's a narrative or anything else that would take it out. You know, obviously, news trade's always possible and so on, but just looking at it the way it has been trading since the 10th of October, I don't see anything that would make me think that this will get taken out easily and just ground through. I don't know who is the buyer left to do that at this moment because uh, if I remember correctly, coming off of this bottom, like the book's cleared, like you can see some supply here, retreating, 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 right? So the book was like clear all the way up, and these guys are chasing back down, and that usually precedes larger corrections, at least in my mind. But yeah, I'm kind of still short biased. Even if we get above 116 eventually, for some reason, like that's immediately back into this supply zone as well. So yeah, I don't have a narrative for higher. I was very bullish in this range, like the way Bitcoin usually trades. Like this was like a pretty good long, and I held it almost till the end. I just didn't want to not take all of the profit just for this little bit because as you mentioned, I wasn't sure if these highs get taken if there's enough fuel, but they did get swept, and then the next day it was kind of scary, but still held through it. So we're still holding that. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, I think you touched on something that I wanted to talk about anyway. Um, there's like a tweet going around that is just comparing that 10th of October liquidation event. Like if you think about it as like biggest liquidation event of at least the year or something. Um, and it just compares that to 2021 cycle top kind of behavior, where we also had a very big liquidation event, and just see how price developed afterwards. I think it's at the very least interesting to just look into that because if we go to that 2021, that was like December 4th, like this I remember like this 50K range. Like I was quite new to crypto, at least to CT, and I remember um, people being actually still kind of bullish. Like this is just like a small pullback, like coming into this imbalance right here, and it actually like persisted all the way through. But we had that big liquidation event, and if you compare how price reacted afterwards, like this is what I talked about earlier. Just those highs not really getting swept, um, even like not even tagging that supply zone. If you like, if you see how price developed, it was kind of bearish. Like made new low, made another new low, then actually just hunted some shorts, and these are really brutal short squeezes. Bam Bam often talks about how there's like a lot of money to be made here, both on longs and shorts. Um, for people like him, like it's a lot easier to trade versus price action that we have right here. Um, but if you compare it with what we just had, um, I'm not like it's like a little bit, and I just wanted to touch on it because it's like people are actually discussing it, but it's like a little bit different situation, I think, um, because here price was already grinding down. On BTC here, we actually just had that liquidation event, like coming off the highs into, uh, let's say, like this demand zone right here, which is a kind of holding. Sorry. Um, So I'm not sure. Like, so do you have any opinion on that? Did you see the tweet? Did you interact with it?
I don't think so. I don't think I saw the exact tweet. But I just looked at 2021. I was not paying attention back then at all to the sentiment or anything. But looking at it right now, I don't think that. Uh, I did see one tweet that basically said back then it felt like it wanted to go higher with other risk assets, but there was something really suppressing it, and that was allegedly Alameda selling and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
What is that accurate? Is that reasonable to assume?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could be. I'm not sure if it's them, but for sure the leverage, like leverage situation is completely different. I just saw your DM, by the way. I'm gonna share my screen with you. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Let me
Uh,
just. Which screen do you need? It's this one.
So for me, looking at 2021 right now, comparing it to here, I think it is a little bit different. It's the same in the sense that we did just get rid of a lot of leverage, and it's also the same in the sense that, I mean, just looking at stuff like Hyperliquid, looking at uh, other funds that have been sort of publicly exposed or not exposed, if you want to call it that,
Yeah,
in their trading style. Even big institutions with, eight, nine figures under management, they tend to be leveraged, and they tend to be leveraged on altcoins, and it's not very rare. So, uh, having these bigger institutions having to unwind risk because of the leverage, and maybe, a lot of them were delta neutral or some other strategy that had, both long and shorts going on. They still got probably hurt quite a bit because
yeah,
of
of course.
the sort of auto deleveraging and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if, the regime, well, not the regime, but like the conditions are a bit different with PCOs being present and the TradFi impact that we have now versus 2021. But I think the effective impact of it going forward will essentially be the same. So I think it's a good example and like a decent fractal to follow.
Yeah. I mean, what's already interesting is that the fractal is kind of like more muted, at least. Like, if it plays out, like price action here was just a lot more. I don't know if it holds up on log chart. Oh, log volume, great.
I mean, yeah, that's like was very much discussed even when the price was like in the 70s.
Yeah.
That it's a lot of volatility selling. There's some option impact going on,
Yeah.
including the TradFi product. So you would expect that. So I don't think we'll see more like massive dumps and stuff, but I think it
Yeah.
will be just boring, ranging, bleeding.
I would actually love to see like eventually this cluster getting tagged, but like it's just in like this kind of very unvolatile movement. Like I don't know if it will play out because it's like, but if you look at the chart, if this was a 5 minute chart, for example, I would not be able to long here. Um, so that's why I'm just hoping that I know most people will get absolutely wrecked if this happens. But like instead of expecting this kind of bear market, I think it makes more sense to just that a bear market will be something similar to what we had here in the 70K. Kind of also here, like those huge drawn out bear flags before Sailor finds some money again or some narrative is able to squeeze shorts. I'm not sure if we are there yet. So also like I don't remember who it was. Maybe like Duck Donald saying something like that he risked off a lot because he saw people like many people getting actually like overly convinced bearish, um, but not really adjusting positioning to that. So people are saying like, yeah, it's actually like not looking great. Both price action, both like under the hood, it's not really looking good for BTC specifically. But I'm holding my exposure because everyone is like kind of scared um, to just miss. It's just literally FOMO, I think, People are really really afraid they will sell here, and then this happens. Um,
Yeah, but
so
they have to think like who will do that? Who has the money to do that? Because this is, it has
yeah,
been
yeah, yeah.
hard to get
Of course,
up,
I'm
right?
not saying it's correct or not. His argument was like if people are actually realizing it is not really bullish here, but they are holding risk, they're holding exposure for like out of FOMO. What will happen if price starts doing like this? And his argument was like because people are mostly holding against knowing better, like they know they should risk off, but they don't because of FOMO holding. What will happen if price keeps grinding lower? And he's saying like these are very easy sellers that like they're just holders right now, but they will just like dump on the first um, on that first like real sign like okay no I was wrong to hold this. I'm just gonna um, cut this like especially if you think that most people like got really bullish like once we broke back above this. So most people are just holding for like, I mean, just they're holding for 2-3x now. But um, like if you bought here, let's say like your average is around here or something, you probably you could have sold here for like really good gains. Like, are you gonna risk round trip? Like, how far will you let it go? That's
I
kind.
think you will. I think they like if you, let's say, long bottom in size and like I'm not sure how to describe it.
I'm not talking about like
You're
people that bought below the purple line. Like I'm
Yeah, yeah,
talking
no.
like
It it's like if you're an investor, not a trader, and you're looking to exit, and you have some size on, and what's your invalidation, right? And I think that's a weekly close below 100,000. And I think that means we will sort of bob up and down the 100,000 mark for like at least a month before a certain direction is picked. Does that make sense?
not at all. Um, I just don't get the weekly closes. Like I was arguing with somebody on Twitter about that too. Like
The duck likes the weekly closes.
I
That's why I
know,
mentioned the
but
weekly closes.
it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well,
Like
because
okay,
you're a trader, not an investor, right?
yeah, maybe, but I mean, it's just like very hard to find decent evidence that's like that they matter at all. Like weekly close below the level here, at least below value, like it just pumps up right back into the range. Then it sells off again. Like it's just like constantly here the same. Like this weekly close, it's like a huge wick. It's 49k to like this is like a 18% wick. So in theory, this is very bullish. What does it? Like it just sells off again. Then it actually closes below, and you just get some consolidation, and it pumps to new highs. Like what is the
No, I'm
what,
not saying it makes sense. I think it's just the psychology of those people that are holding bullish positions, even
uh,
though it looks bad, right?
yeah, I don't know.
Like
Like
if you sh
I back tested it a little bit, and it's a kind of I don't know. It's really hard to get like even if you adjust the parameters that you use, like wick or close or two candles, like there's rarely any consistent data that you can find on like same thing
I
here.
don't
Like
think you can even backtest it now because of IBIT and CME. Like if you're looking at pre-IBIT, pre-CME, it's kind of hard.
yeah. Well, anyway, um, I do think though, like if you like, I understand why people look at these candles. That it's just to zoom out a little bit and um, to reduce the amount of noise. Like I'm not sure if we can like if you go to candles, for example, like it starts to make a little bit more sense. Or even if you just put on a line chart, often you get some different perspectives on okay, like for example here you see like okay, it is actually just consolidating, like but then these time frames are so high that you just how should I say this, you you're not just cutting out the noise, like you're literally emitting 90% of data or something, like that it is not, in my opinion, it is not like cutting out the noise anymore. It's like too much. Um, so you have to like, I don't know, like I understand why people use it, but I find it very hard to make decisions based off that, which is probably like the investment or trader thing that you're talking about. But yeah, I'm not really sure. Um,
Yeah. If we're talking about weekly, you can put up my screen. I can
okay.
show kind of what you already talked about, just maybe more precise, I guess.
Fuck you.
So this is no, I mean just it's not like oh maybe, but it's like this is what I'm actually gonna do. This is my plan.
Yeah. By
So
the way,
in
guys,
super. Ah,
chat is really quiet. If you have any questions, comments, or remarks, feel free to just post question in the chat. Sorry.
and if you want to request some charts, you can post Dicker, and we'll have a look at it in a
Yeah.
bit when we're done with whatever this Bitcoin thing is. All right, so Bitcoin 1 week chart. I have these lines drawn out, pretty good lines. Like, oh man, look at this line. That's so good. That's so good. I love that. Initially, it was a slightly different line, and then we got above it, right? And then we dumped below it, as usual. But yeah, I like these lines a lot. I think this is like a decent range. You could even call it like this, and then this makes so much sense, I think. So, 98K, I would be a buyer there because this line, right? I don't think it just gets dumped through on the first try. Worst case, you retest the range highs, which is just about 109, 110-ish, right? Maybe sell 107 just to be safe. If we are bearish, which we might be, I think you go back down and you hit that level that you're looking at, about 89, 88, right? Might come back way more than anyone expects, and that's like, okay, we're so back, blah, 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 make a lower high. And we're just like, this, I think, is like the TradFi adjusted bear market thing. But you have to keep in mind, this might, like, each of these lines could be 3, 4 weeks, right? And there could be like a ton of chop in between, right? So this is already like April 26th, right? And then maybe by the end of it, it's just a prolonged, quick downtrend as even more leverage comes off and it's so over, and then we bottom out around like the 60s, something like that. At least I think that's what I expect for a bear market.
Yeah. What's your bullish scenario? Do you have one?
I don't have one right now, no.
Okay.
I don't see it. I don't know
Uh,
who buys the bitcoins.
it's
I
not
don't
really
know.
about who buys it, like just purely chart based or something. Um,
I mean,
I,
I guess yeah, but
I'll pull
the
my sc-.
bullish scenario is this hit the 98s and then just keep doing this like we have done for a
Yeah,
bit, and just you do this instead,
yeah, I get
right?
it.
So either
Uh,
way, I think 98 gets hit.
I'll just pull my screen up for a bit. Like if you go like the um, back to the weekly chart and you actually like do like some Donald uh, analysis, I guess like this is like something like this, or like maybe take this one. Uh, like if you really think just like in supply support resistance, we are like just like in a range for since the 7th of July, we popped up above like this supply zone here. We
Yeah,
are
exactly.
kind of holding it. So my bullish scenario is like these just don't get revisited and we start. Um, Man, I hate weekly charts. It's useless crap. Um, if we just keep on holding this, and instead of like we talked about these highs here, but this is like very low time frame stuff. Like So this is all on higher time frame. This is just noise, but if you start to see like this here, this should be protected.
Yeah,
Or if you actually like um, pump, because we talked about it earlier, the supplies on like it can get filled and tagged, but it should really be like this, in my opinion.
yeah.
If it's bearish, like it, if you start going like just like grinding up here and it shoots up and maybe it dumps a little bit again and then reclaims again and just starts filling this out. Um, this is actually very sailor price action that I just drew.
Yeah.
But I mean, just like if you actually start building bullish momentum in here, you can still watch this zone right here to see if you get that reaction right here. But then again, if you reclaim, so I think it's very clear. Like, oh, I don't know what I just did. Uh, okay, whatever. Um, so I think it's all like that's why I'm not really a fan of basing everything off weekly chart, but this is such a clean level that is currently holding that I think if you get some constructive price action in here, it doesn't make sense to keep that bearish bias without any regard for like, hey, maybe actually I was wrong. Like spot buyers just are gonna push this up again, and that can be like
Oh yeah.
just like something like this to just keep on ranging, or it can be a more impulsive move.
I
But
did forget to mention that. I had that thought. It's I saw a tweet. It was Michael Burry, like the big shorter from 2009, whatever, right? And he was like, "Well, I see like the system is gonna come down, but I can't do anything about it. Like I can't short it, right? Why? Because uh, everything is stretched, everything looks like shit, but the Fed will always step in. Everything will just keep going up just because, they're going to devalue the currency infinitely and there's nothing you can do about it. Like you can't make money off the downside because there isn't going to be a downside because
yeah,
the downside is in the dollar getting weaker, right? So
yeah,
that's the bullish scenario, right? And I think I talked about it in a few streams. Like it's not like you're long Bitcoin, you're just short the dollar, and
yeah,
that's sort of why you're making these like very small new all-time highs because the dollar market is so big, you're not gonna get that like huge demand in.
yeah, yeah. Of course, it makes a lot of sense. Uh, Somebody in the chat, uh, I don't know how to read the username. The Jam3RRR is asking. So you're saying weekly closes are not considered significant on a high time frame basis? Um, I don't want to generalize it. I'm just saying that I did not find any meaningful um, like any meaningful signal in it. Like even if you just um, if you consider just the weekly chart of the last like 1 year and a half or something, like it, you kind of have to say like, okay, so this is. Oh, do I not have? Here. So let's take like this, just like the level like of the range, like the lower level. Like every time you get a weekly close through it, it actually just pumped right back up, and it's like there's I don't know. I just don't see it. Like same here. You have a nice SFP, so you expect at least the highs to get tagged. It just dumps again. I'm not sure what this was. Then you actually get like a hyper bearish weekly close. It just consolidates. It doesn't really make any significant new low. Of course, you get like the SFP of the SFP, the tree drive. I think those are more significant patterns than just like one weekly close candle. So that's why I keep saying like if you have a weekly close here, you're not considering any volume data or follow-up candles. For me, that is not really significant. Just this candle close and say, why is that? Let me try to just mark this. I'm not sure if we have H4. So um, to me, it is like a little bit weird to consider because like the weekly close is in say it is like the most illiquid time of the week that you take. So you're basically saying like, okay, that time 2 hours after CME open, that is the most important time of the week. Like where price is at 2 hours after CME open, that is gonna dictate high time frame movement. While you just had like entire weekend of liquidity building up, then you have CME opening. There's like a lot of liquidity games there as well, like with SPX. So it's not really that important like moment in time for me. Um, Maybe Monday close. Like I'm just inventing something here, but Monday close will be a lot more important than like Sunday open or something. Like I just don't really get it. It also matters a lot. Like try to point this out. How do you make a vertical line? Nice. Um, so like if this is your zoom in a little bit, like okay, you can say very clearly like okay, this is the level. Here's the imbalance. Um, there's maybe another one right here. So you can treat this as a zone, but it matters a little bit. Like if the weekly close is right here, you would consider it very bearish because price closed below both lines. If weekly close is like few hours later, it is already back above this line. So then it becomes a wick. And combining that with what I just said, like the CME liquidity games, with everything opening up again, the weekend low volume, low volatility bullshit. Uh, I find it hard to convince myself that that moment in time is so important that we have to consider where price is at that point. Does that make sense? I don't know. We lost Soldat.
No, it does. I thought maybe you're asking him.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but he he
I agree.
he has like
I
a
don't.
30-second delay or something.
I like the idea is good. I agree with the idea. I will. I don't trade weekly anyway. It's completely inconsequential for me.
Yeah. Um,
But if you look back, you can kind of make out like, okay, weekly close below, invalidated, investors probably some bitcoins change hands, whatever, and then it got above and reclaimed and closed and stayed there. Okay, that's probably pretty bullish, or at least has been for the last 2 years or so.
mm,
So that makes sense.
yeah, I put your screen back up. Can you? I think you had some thoughts about ETH or Solana. I'm not sure. I see some
Yeah,
questions in
we
the
can do
chat.
Solana.
We'll pick those up in a bit. Just let's look at another chart first.
Yeah, so this is Solana. Uh, Nothing much really changed. Still in this sort of little triangle. Uh, Still expecting to sweep some highs, like these highs here. You have like a very typical downtrend pattern. Oh, gotta do the inverse curve, and then it just kind of breaks it. Okay, we're back above, but still extremely weak compared to Bitcoin. Probably some other alts as well, as it has been since the top. So this is always, or at least has been, like a decent short target. And as we've talked about before, usually Solana very weak, very weak, very weak. And then as we move down the liquidity curve, meaning that as we are approaching a time where sellers will start stepping in on majors, Solana will start outperforming. Uh, don't ask why. Well, we can talk about it again, but that's just how it is. It used to be ETH, but then ETH got a lot of price insensitive buyers, so ETH is not as good of a target anymore. We have a guy using technical analysis to buy a couple of billion of ETH, so not as useful. But I think this is still extremely possible, as we've talked about before. Solana really likes to sweep highs before dumping completely, right? So maybe this guy gets swept, and then that would be a pretty decent short entry. And I have this confluence here as well for the third tap of this trend line. And third taps are usually like pretty decent, maybe 60, 70% of the time. So that's what I'm looking for on Solana. As far as longs go, not really that interested, except below 165 to about 157. I think this area is a good target. We have a half wick fill there. and I don't like to fade half wick fills ideally. And this is like a pretty major wick, and we have this demand zone here, which has acted as demand, I think, a couple of times before big dumps, right? So those are my thoughts on Solana. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, pretty easy to execute. You can even like sort of tighten it up here, right? The other scenario to be expected is kind of like this, right? And then you would short the demand zone here, but then at that point you're kind of looking like, okay, what is BDC doing? Because yeah, uh, and if we are doing that, then it's kind of like the same thing. It makes a high. Ideally, should break some structure here on lower time frames. Maybe close an hour or 4 hour below, like you did here, to enter the short, and then you can short the sweep all the way down. But regardless, uh, we talked about BTC, and the downside on BTC is harder, but I think on alts, even if we continue in this range on BTC between like 110 and 130, I think alts will just keep doing like pretty good numbers on the downside regardless. So they don't have the type of sort of buyer and risk profile that BTC buyers have right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree with that. It depends a little bit. Like if we are completely off on BTC and we just like relentlessly pump from here, I will adjust my expectations on alts as well. Of course, there are some outperformers. I will keep an eye on them. There's like stuff like that are longer time frame outperforming things like hype. Um, it has those weird flows from like the buybacks that I think you just have to keep in mind. Like if you're gonna short stuff, I'm not sure if that is the chart. Can be wrong. Um,
Yep,
I'll
I
just
agree.
go over some questions quickly on the previous topic. Then we have some chart requests as well. Um, so first off, Polat is asking, what about fees at Bullet? Is there going to be any discount or privilege for Pawnzi Group? So we are still, they're still like in the final stages before launching their mainnet. They're like currently working on the affiliate programs. Once those are completed, we usually try to negotiate better fees or fee kickbacks for our members. But we'll keep you posted on it. For now, the only thing you can do is just sign up on that whitelist so you get earliest access. Because like those dexes, if you want to farm them, usually when there's not a lot of volume, is where you can like make the most kind of like if there's a point program or an airdrop farming program, they have like a set amount that is distributed weekly. If you are one of the only like one of the 100 traders on the app, you get a significantly larger portion versus if you wait 3 months and you are in like the last month, there are maybe 10,000 people trading huge volume on it. Your portfolio will not farm that many points or tokens. That is just why we keep pushing these kind of things. Another question.
Oh, I can mention about Bullet. Even regardless of my views on Solana, if you're very bullish on Solana, it's also a fantastic opportunity if you want to do some trading because I think Bullet is one of the very few dexes that will offer coin collateral, so you can not sell your Solana and use it as margin if you want to do some trading.
Yeah. Pura is asking or saying that he thinks that the CME chart for high time frame is much more accurate, exactly because of what I just said about those weekly closes. Yeah, I tend to agree, but I tend to agree that it's like a cleaner chart on high time frame. Um, you have like a lot more variables here. Like there's not just one CME chart. Like depends a little bit how do you watch it. Do you watch um, just regular chart? Do you watch backward adjusted? Do you watch if you go on lower time frame, like what data do you consider important? Like this is, for example, this is RTH, which is regular trading hours. So it just like disregards any price action that happens in post or pre-market. So only during like New York Open, this price action. I think that trade's pretty clean, even with the gaps. Um, Sometimes it can like give very good results. Then again, like do you backward adjust on this or not? Like, sometimes one gives better results, sometimes the other. So you have to like watch three charts already. Then you have your electronic trading hours, like which is usually where if you go a little bit more on low time frame. At least for me, I think I use this on backward adjusts most of the time. Uh, it is a lot of time like those highs that get made during electronic trading hours, the blue. So this is like your pre-market, post-market, overnight session. They often get swept, and this is where like this chart for me often. I haven't watched it in a while, but it gave quite good results on those things. On higher time frame, um, it is a bit like I understand what you mean, but like the why is this green? Ah, okay, because this is open. Um, it is still like there is some volume coming in on that moment, like on open and close, but it's not. Like, I have not figured out any way to make like significant decisions based on these weekly or monthly charts. Maybe I'm wrong. It happens quite often, or I just don't see it. Um, but to me, just because of all the reasons I said earlier, watching those weekly charts is more like, okay, I'm just gonna watch the trend or what is happening here. Not really gonna try to really like make high time frame decisions. Like, okay, I think we're gonna go 10, 20, 30% higher or lower. Like, it does not work like that for me, or I cannot really trade like it. Um, Same, it's like, yeah, I'm not sure. Um, Yeah, it makes sense. Pura uses electronic trading hours and adjusted contract. Weekend is important, however, is always inside of context of CME Friday close. It is I think it is a good framework just to see how price develops. What is this? Inside of it. So you have like your where did CME close? Where did CME open? What happened in between? How does price react in between? Do we just fill that as an imbalance? Do we keep chopping in there? Um, then during the Monday range, like do we pump it higher? Do we dump it lower? This is more important for me, that Monday range versus just the actual like open or close. All right. What else do we have? Um, so we have SP. Oh, some meme coin charts. Uh,
I didn't understand the question. What do you make of monthly wicks on highs and wicks
yeah, I
on
mean,
monthly bottoms?
I
I don't
think
think
it.
I've opened a monthly chart in my life.
Yeah, that is a thing. Like, take a clean chart. Like the only thing that I can make of this is like, okay, it is this is SF being the highs, this is SF being the lows, so we just expect more chop, I guess. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really have an answer to. Shy. You guys are making me want to sell it all. No, that is not what we intend to do. Uh,
I mean, didn't you sell on the 10th of October by force?
did you get forced to sell? Um, all that we try to do, this is for ourselves. Mostly, we just try to decide like, okay, what is what is like the most likely scenarios that can develop here, that can happen, and how can we prepare for it? Like,
If you like kind of look at it right now, we put in a low, a higher low, and now we have another higher low, but we did SFP the high. So you're kind of guessing, you know.
yeah, kind of
Fundamentally, it's
kind of
kind of
guessing. So all we do is just like, okay, just like realize like, okay, we are not having for now that Q4 October rally that everyone was predicting. Um, so maybe there's like good argument to be a little bit cautious. So if price comes back into these highs of the value area here, like, or the imbalance, maybe try to keep that in mind, plan ahead. Like, what do I want to see here to remain actually bullish, to keep my exposure? Like, okay, I want to see price actually like grinding, making a new high, holding these lows. When there's a dump, it needs to be bought quickly and make new highs. That is like very good preparation. Like, okay, I will actually not sell into that. I will just hold it. But on the other hand, like you can also prepare for like, okay, if I see price push into this, immediately retrace, stay down here, like maybe fill that, then come back down again. Like, okay, this is not bullish. Um, so it's just being prepared for whatever can happen. Same for the downside. Like, um, you want any dumps to be bought up back quickly, and then this is for me a good argument to just like add some exposure, add more exposure. But if it starts to actually grind down here, you don't have to sell it all, but like, these are very easy shorts. Like you just uh, basically whenever you see something take some highs and get back below, you just hedge your full portfolio or like partial, because you can do it like with very tight stops. So in case it dumps, then you make some on the downside. Uh, if it doesn't, you take like a 1 or 2% scratch or something. What chart are you looking at?
oh, this is
Oh, it's BTC.
it's just a weekly
So
chart.
we had two altcoins, I think. Well, we had Solana. We did that. Um,
Do you want to do ETH quickly?
oh, yeah. Let me. Okay, this was last week, or 10 days ago stream, I guess. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. We were looking at this like this new value developing right here, in between. So we have a big value area here, um, where we deviated below, came back above, deviated the highs, and then just sold off, and now we're holding kind of below this. I should probably change the color because it's not value, like it's inverse value. There's no value here. So this is something we look to get filled at some point. Um, then we were also looking at that diagonal. Um, Price keeps making lower highs into this really nice trend line. We consolidated actually into it. Very good opportunity for price to reclaim here, in my opinion. This. So let me just take this off. Perfect backfill. Also, maybe too perfect. Then you already know, like, okay, it's probably rejected here at value area low. You probably don't want this like this volume pocket here. Like everyone that shorted here just got an exit, uh, basically at break even if they didn't get stopped. So that is not really bullish. If it dumps into that, it should like buyers should step in quickly, just like we said with BTC earlier, and then it should like start to reclaim this value so that it can pump back into to this imbalance, fill the value area again. We did not do that. Uh, Actually, we even took out not the lows. It's still a good place to get bullish, like even just around value area low. Right now, with this consolidation being below the previous one, I would not like that very much. As a bull, I would actually prefer getting on board here or something like if you. if you think about it in spot buys, it is usually better to just buy lower or in very small size. But I often notice that like if you want to buy here, like where is your invalidation? Like, can it be here? Mm, not really. Like equal lows. It's kind of not really the smartest thing to do. So you have to keep your invalidation here, which also has that imbalance. So actually, the only thing that makes sense is like, okay, I'm just gonna play it really, really wide. Maybe hold for like actual new highs, higher targets. That kind of makes sense to me. But if you can actually manage to make a new high, turn this zone like actually back into proper support, you can maybe find a trade that is like much more interesting to take, like something like this. Um, if you trade with tight stops or with stops at all, like I think it makes more sense to just be patient until you have like okay momentum building, clear direction, and then just hop on board. And then of course it just does this and leave me behind. Um, I'm not really interested in chasing ETH longs here. I don't know about you guys. Like we had that like ridiculous move up with the Tom Lee or what was his name buying. Uh,
Oh yeah, he bought like 2 point something billion and he's underwater. He bought 2.8% of the supply and he's underwater right now.
uh,
He's got like a 41 something average entry.
no, four 4,100
4,138 if I'm not mistaken.
is oddly specific there. Yeah, I'm not sure if it really matters for these guys. Like they seem to just not care about being underwater. It's kind of how their system
Well,
works, I
no,
guess.
that's what we thought, but then those TCO, like the people that bought above 110 on Bitcoin and their MNAV dropped below 1, they started selling their Bitcoin to buy back their shares.
Uh, you mean like
Like
this
it
this
happened,
this the smaller comp? Yeah, yeah, I read something about that.
yeah, it happened
Those
much
smaller
quicker than I
companies.
expected, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And it's also like if we go back to BTC, like it was like it's always those places like here and here where was here as well, December 24, where people are getting like really bullish on that uh, digital asset treasury. Is that the DIT? Um, the thing is like it cannot fail, and the big ones will just buy the smaller ones, and then it is like your very typical um, typical sentiment when things are at the highs and it seems like it cannot go lower anymore. See how price is developing here. Yeah, I think we are.
This is not very good for Sunday. We still have a few hours before the Sunday pump is scheduled, so it can change, but
Uh,
for a Sunday, this is still pretty weak.
uh,
You would expect like this gap to maybe hold at least till CME open,
yeah,
but
like
it's
the
going in.
low at least. Like I'm on my TPO chart here. Yeah, so this is like very classic, like setting up for like a for me at least like for when volume kicks in, you can expect that sweep up, which means that price will probably close the weekly around here. But it's just like it's it's just like engineered liquidity almost. Like you have stops here, price takes them. You have weekly or daily open, which is actually just like a stop hunt. I was gonna ask that Pura. There was like a daylight saving time in the US, right?
Yeah, so there was a dislocation between Europe and US. Europe switches a week before the US, so on Monday we should be back in sync, and New York open on Monday
So
morning
if
in
you think
20
about,
minutes.
like, I know it's Sunday, but let's assume this time tomorrow, which is Monday. Is New York open already for 30 minutes, or is it 90
No,
minutes from now?
tomorrow it's 90 minutes from now.
Okay, so for Asian time, even later, it will be 9:30 in the evening. Shit.
Well,
Okay.
if we look at New York session, more often than not, nothing much happens.
Yeah.
Kenny G just pins it, and we kind of arrange the whole New York
Yeah.
session.
It's been
So you're
actually
kind of better
fun
off.
trading Asia session when I
Yeah,
traded.
exactly.
Um, yeah, I think if this, but it actually shouldn't pump again. It is very very clean high. I mean bad high, but just keep all of these. Um, would actually be very bearish. Um, and very bearish. That means like I would play shorts for the next 5 hours or something before people sell all their shit. Into that again. So, do you have anything on SPX? What is it, six
Uh,
nine thing? Or
I can do Fartcoin. You can have a look at SPX 6900. I thought that coin died like 3 months ago.
yeah, me too. Okay, I will put you up for Fartcoin.
Yeah, Fartcoin. Pretty straightforward. So, had this downtrending channel, broke through the channel, rejected the channel again. Currently, kind of not doing anything. Volatility has died. Obviously, very similar to what we saw back here in February of last year. I think you can kind of expect very similar price action, just kind of bleed, bleed, bleed until you start making consecutive higher lows, which is a good sign to try and get in. For levels on longs, I think about 21 cents, the previous bottom, which is just about half wick fill here on this wick that we made on the 10th of October, is a good place to try for longs. At least till another retest of this downtrend line, but I think it's not unlikely that alts get uh, something of an exit pump. So if I were to play this, I would do something like this. Where's my longs? It would be maybe something like this. And then I TP hard at 33, and then maybe keep a runner till, you know, low 50s, high 40s, something like that. Uh, I think if you're trading these meme coins, it's good to maybe disregard all of this stuff for now, at least. Where's my? So this doesn't exist, right? So you're just trading this. I think that's like a good heuristic if you wanna trade meme coins, if you're still in meme coins. They might see a prolonged sort of period of lower volatility. They might see just a continuous bleed like every single other coin in the history of the world. Um, but you have to keep in mind, like even this move is like 50%, right? So even if you just re-gear it, this is still like a lot uh, in terms of the move, right? So if you played, let's say 80 cents to 1.3, that's about the same move, right? So it's not a bad move. It's a lot. You just have to kind of adjust your long targets a bit. Are they the best things to trade if you're a trader? Probably not. I think the volatility will be quite muted. If you kind of want to know what bad things can happen, right? We have a high, we have another high, and then you might just see this. Like this is very possible on memes for the next year, even,
Yeah,
right? So you have to keep that in mind, but that doesn't mean you can't trade it, right? This is still an 80% move right there,
yeah,
right? So you just have to be cautious of your exits and kind of always take profit. Always take profit. That's, always do that. Also, you just have to keep in mind, like, I had to scroll for Fartcoin. This is what do you call it? Sorted by volume. This is sorted by volume, and I had to scroll all the way down here for Fartcoin, right? So many coins above Fartcoin, and Fartcoin used to be like number four, number five consistently in this
Yeah, for
range,
sure.
right?
I mean, just if you run through, like, just gonna run through some alts that were very hot like a week ago. You have that XPL thing, like, which is just
Called that one perfectly, by the way. Follow for more.
yeah. But I wanted to say, like, I don't want to be hyper bearish on these here. But like, if you're gonna play these on the long side, I think you just wait for like either like local, can't even trade it anymore on regular scale. You just wait for a local new lows and buy a little bit, um, buy a little bit, and always like same dollar size. It's like the way BombBomb trades. Like you buy $100 here, which gives you how many coins? 300. Then you buy like $100 here, you get 400 coins, so your average comes down. And then you just kind of wait for that 80%, 100% move up. You actually sell. You don't hold. Like that is the rule. You have to sell. So I think these can be more interesting to start thinking about. Maybe not this specific coin, but
And not just
um,
that, you can even open the 1 hour or 4 hour chart, and you can wait for a higher low,
yeah,
and then maybe buy that.
yeah.
Even
There's
after it, like you wait for a confirmed higher low, and then you can get in, and you can define your risk really tight usually,
yeah,
because the
that's true.
first higher low will not be like a massive move up.
Yeah. There are some coins that are actually interesting. We were looking at this also earlier. That demand zone actually held, and we said like, okay, we need a proper reclaim of this low right here. Maybe this combination of lows right here, which was you can see it a little bit like this. Um, that doesn't mean that this line has to and will hold. It can still fill this imbalance. But then once you start putting in some more sideways price action here, I think this can make, for the same reason that you said, like once it makes a higher high, higher low here, I think you can try to, like, if you need to long something, probably makes sense to use this coin um, because it's been so strong. Like I didn't really understand this move either. Like this is where who was it? Like was it Machi who ended his selling here? I don't remember the name. So this seems like foundation buyback into supply. Then like buyback funds are depleted, and it just starts dumping again. But I'm keeping an eye on this for sure. Um, yeah, I have um, SPX coin. It's this, right?
Should be, yeah.
I couldn't find it on TradingView.
Really, it's SPX 6900,
Uh,
I think, listed.
yeah,
Oh wait, no.
I found like one chart, but it didn't
Oh,
have
no, no. You have perp. So if you just do SPX USDT.p, you'll get the perp chart for it.
SPXUSDT.p. Okay, but then you miss a lot of data, right?
Yeah, but you don't
Uh,
care.
kind of do actually, because if you look at this chart, um, like this is, I would have trouble being bullish on very high time frames here. It has also been milked so many times, like narrative wise. Uh,
Yeah, it did the high and then the higher high, and now it's very set up for the perma bleed down.
yeah, so you have structure going high, low that pushes into like very decent higher high actually here. $2 probably liquidity taken. Now we are starting to lose this level, which is not very bullish. Maybe this was okay. Then you have. Can I change the color here? So it's the first thing I always do. Just look at structure. Internally, you have a low right here, so it's downtrending. Then it actually breaks structure. So what should have happened here? This should have held, and you should have seen something like this forming. It did not do that, so I cannot be bullish here. It is losing not only this low again, so this turned out to be just a like liquidity sweep or whatever. It is now also losing this low here, and I think that is setting it up for another tap into this. Then it becomes very similar to. Try to find it. Right. Maybe I can just stay inside here. How do you find a coin here? You cannot type. Oh, sorry, I never used text screener. So if you look at Fartcoin, I think this was your boat scenario. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on. No. So we were looking also at, was it this box? Yeah, 65. And this box is now like coming into the actual support, but it's a similar kind of price action that is like, okay, you have a high low that gets set here. Even though like internally this is down, but this is like high, low, high. That means that this should hold, and you should put in like another low around here. Then maybe start consolidating for higher. That is like the usual price action that you see before like significant new highs. Did not do that. It lost this low right here. So SPX is like right here right now, in my opinion. It needs to
Yeah.
push. It needs to push up quickly, and start like being actually bullish, which it is not doing right now. So you are just expecting like on Fartcoin as well. Like if you are really honest on high time frame, like where's line? Oh,
It
here.
should take both of those lows from one from December, the other from March. It should take
This
both of
one, right?
those
Yeah,
lows.
it is going
Yeah.
there. Like there is no way. I mean, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna
Yeah, my
bet
long
my
idea
sexual
was like,
orientation on it, but
yeah,
um, it
my
is
long
so
idea was sort
likely.
of like a day trade, but this is on a higher time frame.
Yeah.
This will take it will take those out.
So if you just go back to SPX, I don't know if it makes sense. Like for me, it is very similar price action. It doesn't mean that it cannot. It can. Oh, I do not know this. It's actually just trading view, but it reacts differently. Um, it doesn't mean it cannot do this or something. Like, then you have your typical roller coaster PA. Yeah, I'm not. I just find it very hard to be like Murat style bullish on these, like actually going parabolic. I can be wrong, but um, low time frame on this because that's probably the question. Um, maybe maybe a move into here can be interesting because this is like a very good high setup. We have the same here, same here, same here, um, here also. And actually, I see that these don't really get backfilled. So I'm not sure what to expect. My expectation is that a lot of people are back holding these kind of things, and
I think that's why we got the questions for them.
yeah, I hate to
You
be.
can
I wish I could be very
you can
bullish on this, but it's just it.
you can look at the volume graph and just presume that all of the buying is still there. Like that's the entry where it still stays.
Um, so
Because
what do you want
usually,
to see to actually get bullish? For me, it's like um, here putting in a low maybe. Um, and to be honest, it just needs um, some sideways
sideways higher
actions.
lows.
Like you cannot really expect this to do this or something, in my opinion. Like
Yeah,
there's just um, too much
you
volume.
want to see the exact same thing as happened in April and May,
Uh,
and it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a month or two
so if you go
to.
from whoa, Mm, okay, it will do. Um, this is so weird to look at. Okay, this is actually interesting. Since let's say this is like where it actually started getting some volume and some traffic. Other than this, so you actually have a level right here, um, or a zone that can be like a little bit higher than your box, maybe. So if it front runs the actual lows, this is where you want to see this kind of price action. Something where it starts making higher high, maybe volume picking up, um, then make a higher high here and just grind a little bit higher. Then you can, I think, you can target some of these imbalances. Is that correct, or am I just bullshitting too much?
I mean, I think that makes sense. Well, we are charting something called SPX 6500,
Yeah,
which is currently still $880 million market cap.
yeah. Um, let's, I lost track of things here. Yeah, so BTC just lost. Uh,
Oh
This is,
wow!
yeah, I didn't short it because it was like I didn't want to be exposed during the stream, and then, um, but yeah, this is not great
Yeah,
in
that
my.
my long idea was just if it like
If it
grinds
holds,
until CME open, and
yeah,
and the long would be after
and
CME
it
open,
holds
which would be
this here, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean it.
I wouldn't take the long now.
No, at least. Do I have a brush here yet? Yes.
It's currently in support. It can still
Yeah.
go up higher, and
So
it can still work fine.
you basically look at this is where like bulls were defending price. Like you actually see um, this high is getting you kind of see how price action. There are a lot of sellers here. You see it just in the candles. Like there's some selling happening, but they're not. And then when it starts to do like this really horizontal, then grinding higher. So this is probably the lows. Like, so if it, I think this was just like some late longs getting flushed. If it comes into here, um, maybe sweeps a little bit, then starts holding the low, putting that same price action. Like I think you can take the long, but I learned recently to no longer just knife catch these. There was a time for it when it went really well, but just wait a little bit how price develops, and I think it makes more sense. If we don't, like, if we start coming below here, I think like if you see price doing a little bit like this, makes sense to either make a higher low here or lower low. Um, let's see, at least these. Sorry, I'm not used to this brush thing. Um, anything else? Okay, you have. Ah, but this is really annoying. Those those ping ponging bid and asks. I still have no idea what they're doing or trying to do. Um, but yeah, don't really have any significant things in the books. Um, thank you, Pura. It means a lot. Um, Did you guys talk macro stuff? Missed first 30 minutes of stream, TradFi, macro outlook, etc. Do you have any thoughts about it? And why do you think BTC is not catching up to SPX or Nasdaq? Um, it's not really something I'm really good at.
Because BTC is not in pension funds and doesn't have just, forced buyers all the time every month.
Uh, um, yeah, I'm
I
not
mean,
sure.
macro-wise,
Uh,
we had a rate cut. We had like a lot of we went up from the lows on some like macro stuff because we had the rate cut coming up. We had the end of quantitative tightening coming up and stuff like that.
yeah,
So that kind of got voted in and price went up, and then when it happened price went down because it happened. So we don't have bullish catalysts for the future. But what I did mention before was that Michael Burry tweet, and how I interpreted it was also that and also there's the same bullish scenario for BTC, which is the short dollar trade. uh, Things will not break completely. There will not be like a very obvious bear market because the Federal Reserve will always step in and just inject endless amounts of dollars into the system for the number to stay high. So that's kind of the macro outlook.
yeah,
It like macro looks bad, but you have infinite selling of dollars
yeah.
basically.
I think for me, the like I try to watch a little bit, learn about it. Then you find like few profiles that actually have very in-depth coverage of macro situation, of TradFi situation, and I find that often they contradict each other and they all make sense to me. And more importantly, I cannot really find any actionable advice or analysis in there. One guy that I like to watch a lot. I don't know. Maybe it's complete bullshit, but I like watching the videos of capital flows. Do you know him?
No, I haven't actually.
Uh, so it's like I think his ad. I have to look it up. Uh, it's global flows. So at well, that's his ad on Twitter. His username is capital flows, but the app is global flows. Um, Basically, his thesis is like, okay, um, like he is expecting like something to crash at some point, but he's just saying like for now it makes no sense to be bearish because like for many reasons that he cites, he's just expecting more melt up soon, which is like for as long as he has been saying it, like we have been melting up on this particularly. He also has some very interesting charts. I'm trying to replicate them, where he looks at SPX or BTC out or underperformance versus SPX. Like it is based on I don't know, like you can make very basic chart, I guess, something like this. Um, but then it looks like with some moving averages or some like um, what's it called, like range that you look at for like the last developing 20, 30, 40 candles, and he just looks at is it actually worth longing or investing even time in BTC if you can just long SPX. Like you get these like green and red shades of where BTC is outperforming or underperforming SPX. I think though that's actually good to keep in mind because we often I forgot the exact question. Um, exact
Oh,
question was
I just looked him up. I looked him up, and I am familiar with him. I'm familiar with his ultra bullish BTC thesis, which is also sort of the same thing, which
yeah,
is
but
infinite selling of dollars.
yeah, it is actually it is that, but he actually differentiates between windows of opportunity for crypto for Bitcoin specifically. Like um, he will often just not buy the bottom and wait for crypto outperformance, then get on that momentum. Um,
Yeah,
because Pura asked, why do you think BTC is not catching up to SPX? I have no opinion on the why. I don't need to have it. Also, I can speculate that we see a lot of OG wallets waking up lately, so there's a lot of selling pressure coming in. Um, so that could be a reason or the reason. I don't know about it. What I can do is look at the chart and see that we are underperforming. So what do we need? What do we need to see um, to actually get bullish on Bitcoin? Like, what is the catch up trade? Like, probably needs to I don't know, like not stop making lower lows at least. That could be a good start. Yeah, so Chang, I just put it back here. It's global flows. He puts like every week or every 2 week, like he puts videos on his Twitter account where he just explains how he looks at things. I'm not saying it is like truth or anything. I just think it's interesting to watch or to get started. He has some website also with a lot of educational material, which again I have no idea because I'm just not smart enough on that point. But if you want to look into that, I think this can be a source where you can find some information, maybe discover for yourself if it's true for you or not.
I also like Citrini and Fofty for a bit more
Yeah,
actionable stuff. Uh,
let me.
what stuck to me from Citrini, I think last week he did a tweet which was fun. Uh, he said, well, fundamentally, I think it's kind of common knowledge that the current melt up in SPX, well, obviously short dollar, but also a lot of this capital expenditure from AI companies, which is kind of a major part of the current uh, short to medium term economy, and why it's still kind of doing really well because other sectors are doing quite badly relatively to that. And he said that it's not really a bubble until they start borrowing money to build that capex out, and that only started, I think, last week when they started raising debt to build the AI capex out. So we still have like at least a few months in the TradFi world before the melt up stops.
Yeah,
So there's, yeah, I agree. There's no reason to be bearish on SPX. I
is
mean,
it
there's a plenty of reason, but fund like trading wise, I don't think short
is
term
it this
is
Citrini,
very.
by the way? If you can look at my screen.
Yes, Citrini 7.
Okay, I did not know him. I mean, I saw him like come across on the
Oh,
timeline, but
he's
I
the goat. Like I
really.
think, yeah, if he has like a reasonably priced newsletter with a lot of. If you want to get into TradFi trading, he's a
Yeah.
thematic investor, like narrative investor, and
Mm-hmm.
he's pretty on point with a ton of stuff. At least in the last like year or two since I've been following, he has a lot of bangers, a lot of companies. He invests in multiples. I think he called the AI to robotics rotation months and months in advance, and he started investing into these robotics pick and shovel companies and made several multiples of return on them. And yeah, really good.
Yeah. Okay. Um, maybe we can start to wrap things up here,
Yeah,
unless there are some. But I think we covered like most really important things. There's one thing we missed. Just put that on the screen right here. This was such a good tweet. I
that's a wonderful tweet.
I enjoyed that a lot. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Um,
Also, remember, stream is sponsored by Bullet. So
yeah,
as we're ending the stream, make sure to click the link in the stream description or in either of our bios on Twitter and get on the whitelist. That would help us out a ton.
yeah. No stream this week. We are both taking a few days off, but we will be back. I think somewhere like in the week after next week. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Bye.
Okay, bye bye.